So I had actually written a journal entry for today, which I haven't for the last couple of videos, but I forgot to bring with me and I can't go back to get it because I'm about to go to a class, a jiu-jitsu class. So this one's going to be unscripted just like the others. Yeah, and I'm not actually entirely sure what I want to talk about. I could talk about the same thing, but I think that might be better to do with the journal. So instead, I think I'm going to talk about why I'm doing these videos in the first place, because I think it's just honestly a good reminder to myself. Because it's it's not like anyone else is watching these, right? So yeah, essentially I'm uploading these videos twice a week and nobody's watching them, obviously, right? I'm not trying for anyone to watch them, and I'm not trying to make them searchable. I'm not trying to make them particularly good. I'm not trying really to do anything with them. And that is both like that maybe isn't the ideal thing to do either, and I'll get to that. But essentially, I just want to take a look at why I'm making these videos, because I'm doing them twice a week and each video is like at least 20 minutes long, and there's not I want to figure out what it is that I get out of it and what it is that I'm not, right? And essentially, I think that the reason I'm doing these videos is really to just build up a habit, right? Like I mentioned before, nobody's watching these videos, and I'm not making them with the intention for them to really get watched. I mean, that'd be cool, but they're not. I can admit that the quality of these videos isn't insane, right? These videos the quality is kind of on the ground, right? Most of it's unscripted, one take. It's very unedited, right? Very lightly edited. And a lot of it is just my own reflections, right? And I think that that can be helpful to some people. I know that I, for example, might like watching these kinds of videos for other people if I feel as though I might be able to gain something from it, as though I might be able to kind of maybe find some lessons in the stories, or maybe find, take like just learn something from the stories, or maybe somehow someone else's kind of introspection can help me reflect back on myself, right? I think all those are helpful. But that's not exactly like that's not the thing that's going to get a lot of views on something like YouTube, right? And I don't care, because that's not, again, why I'm doing this. I think primarily right now, I'm just trying to build up a habit, because for me, consistency has always been the hardest thing. It's always been difficult to make anything stick. And right now, I'm actually getting things to stick, right? Like, I just gave myself a simple rule: upload every Thursday and every Sunday, right? By every Thursday and by every Sunday, right? As long as I do that, and today I'm actually releasing it on Monday, but that's because yesterday was an exception. But as long as I do that, no matter what comes out, I will be consistent. And I think that's important, because I think it's obvious that I'm not giving any thought to the quality of these videos, right? And the reason for that is because my singular rule, my singular focus right now is just release a video every Thursday and every Sunday. It does not matter what that video is, right? And of course, I don't want to be like, I don't want to cheat it, right? And I don't want to just like release 2 seconds of a black screen, right? I want it to be an actual video. But I'm not putting high standards on myself. I'm not putting any standards on myself, because the only standard I have is consistency. And I think that that is a good strategy for long-term growth and long-term success. Because at the moment, there is nothing here, right? Like, all these videos, but there's no views. There's not that much of a purpose, right? Maybe some people are able to get some help from it, but it's not particularly organized. A lot of it's word vomit, right? There's a lot of issues, but that's okay, because later on that won't be the case. And I do have plans for that. I do have plans to actually take this kind of YouTube channel that I've created, right, and take these videos and actually level them up. And I have plans to actually release things that might be, more helpful, that'll be more organized, that'll be of a higher quality, right? And I know that I'm capable of doing that. And I do have plans to do that at some point, but I don't want to give up the consistency. I don't want to do that, because it's so easy for me. Like, let's say I could just stop right now with what I'm doing and instead focus on making good videos, right? Releasing good videos. I might be able to release 2, 3, I don't know, maybe a few, right? few good videos, and then I might just stop, because consistency is always the issue for me. And I like to think that I have a level of self-awareness to be able to recognize that, right? And so for that reason, despite wanting to make better videos and wanting to spend more time and more effort to produce things of higher quality, I know that I must continue to make these bad videos. Like I said in, like my 4th video maybe, I have to continue making bad videos, right? Because so far, this is the longest. I've made so many YouTube channels before, and I've never made anything consistent. Sometimes some of them I don't even release videos. For some, I release a few, maybe a couple, right? And then I quit. This is by far the longest that I've ever remained consistent to making videos. And I think that this is the reason. It is because I'm prioritizing the consistency above all else. Once that becomes a habit, once that becomes something unbreakable for me, right? Once I have the strength and that consistency, then I can experiment with adding more, with giving more quality, with making something that is more, making things that are more creative, maybe more helpful, more organized, right? Better research, right? Well written, all these things. I can do that once I have the foundation laid, once I know that I will be creating videos. And I think that is the correct order in which to do this. And so that is the reason as to why I'm making these videos, even though there's no views, even though they're not particularly good. That is the reason why. That's also why for some of these videos, right? Because in the beginning, actually a couple weeks ago, I feel as though a big reason for me making the videos is that through making these videos, I was actually able to explore myself more, and I was able to be more introspective, right? But recently that hasn't been the case. Recently, I've actually just kind of been coming here, talking random shit, right? Like just vomiting, word vomiting, and then putting it on the internet. And that's not particularly helpful for my introspection. That's not particularly helpful for me developing a level of self-awareness. It's only helpful for the consistency. And so I realized that the introspective aspect of it is nice, but it is only a side effect, right? It ebbs and it flows, and sometimes it's more introspective and stronger, sometimes it's less. That's not really the focus, is what I've determined. Instead, if you boil it down, it's all about the consistency. And so now, through talking about this with you and with this camera, I've been able to kind of convince myself of that, so that now I can see the value in it, right? Because for a while I was actually thinking, I'm not growing. I'm just putting these videos out there, but why am I doing it, right? Because it's not introspective. Not all, like some of them are, but not all of them, right? It's not super helpful in terms of that development of self-awareness. And then it's also not like crazy in terms of, just make sure I'm still recording, yeah. And it's also not crazy in terms of getting people to watch it, right? Like, it's just, they're not searchable, these videos, no one's finding them, no one's watching them, no one really cares, right? And so why am I doing it? What's the reason? And I started to think maybe I should double it, right? Maybe I should just kind of do one video, double the time I give myself. So one video a week, right? Maybe one video every 2 weeks, so I can put a lot of effort into it. But then I realized that's a slippery slope, because once I start doing that, I'm going to lose the consistency, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to fall off. And that's the last thing I want. The last thing I want is to fall off of this, because I know, regardless of what I'm doing now, if I continue, regardless of what I make now, if I just continue, right, I have to extrapolate outwards over the course, I might not do anything for the next year, right? But if I just continue this and I stay consistent with it, come 5 years, I will be making something of quality, right? And people will find it, right? And it will be good, because if I stick with it for long enough, it will be. And I have to believe in that. That's why I don't want to lose the consistency. I need to be patient. Patience is important, because if I rush into it, I might crash, right? Whereas I know that if I'm patient, and if I take it little by little, and I build this foundation with strength, right? And I make sure that I have that foundation from which to grow on, that I'll be able to actually, do good things and make good videos and hopefully help people, right? And that's really what I want to do with this channel. But everything comes with time, and I have to be patient. I have to be patient. Right now, the focus is on building consistency. And that's why I will continue to make these videos, and hopefully, maybe 5 years from now, somebody will watch this and they'll be able to look at what I've done and hopefully see that it worked, right? But yeah, so that's kind of, I'm still recording? Okay, nice. That's all I've got for now. Hopefully, like I would say at the end, I often say, hopefully this has helped you in the end of these videos, but if nobody's really watching them, right? So hopefully you're watching this in the future, and hopefully my strategy worked, right? And hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you actually have the physical evidence on your screen in front of you that patience and consistency is the right strategy for long-term success, even if I might sacrifice it in the short term. All right, there you go.